Good morning. Oh no, it's afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are viewing us from. Hey, so glad that you're able to join us here today on Mosaic Sparks. As always, we're always bringing incredible women, speakers, people that have impacted the world. So this morning is no different. I keep on saying this morning, good afternoon, is no different. So what I'd like you to do is to share this out. Go ahead and share this out with your community as we get ready to get started on this incredible conversation. And I know it's February, but this is our first live of the year. So I'm going to say Happy New Year. Happy New Year from wherever you are watching us. So this morning, I have the pleasure to let me just ask you a question. As a parent of a child that would want to go to college, doesn't matter what age that child is, how would you feel if you had a bestie that will come alongside you that has about 20 years experience in business that can help you? So whether you are a parent or grandparent or bonus parent, but you have a college, a person that will be going to college, it can even be your neighbor, right? Because this information that we're going to share, it's not just for you. You can share this with anyone that you may know. So I have the pleasure this morning of bringing an incredible woman that knows everything that you need to know about getting your college student ready for the money, the resources that they have out there. So I'm going to bring to the stage and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself. Good morning, Stephanie. How are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. I
So
am doing I I am doing well. I just want to come on and tell you all there is hope. If you are a student, 2026 student that is on the verge of getting ready to go to college, if you are a parent that has a ninth grade or a 12th grade student, ninth through 12th grade student, there is help for you. I want to make sure that I give you the tools, the resources in order to take your kid from high school to college without all of the anxiety. I want to take you from being, oh my God, to we got this. I look forward to walking you on my journey and letting you know how I got started. I birthed this business PSG2C by my being in the same shoes that you all are currently in. I was a first time student. I did not have a roadmap. I wanted to go to college. I had a vision of going to college. I knew exactly what I want to major in, pre-med, medicine. And I went to my parents and saying, hey, I want to go to college. I want to continue this thing after school. And they said, Steph, if you want to go, you're going to have to figure it out. So me being who I am, determined, I actually figured the path out. I know that they felt a little overwhelmed as parents as well, because guess what? They didn't have a playbook. They didn't go to college. I was the first one that going to college, so they didn't know about the application process. They didn't know about scholarships. They didn't know how to find money. They didn't know what I would need to even just, be successful in going to college. So going through all of that gave me the resilience that when I walked into the parent role, I was ready and a little bit more prepared than my parents were. Um, and, the uncertainty, the overwhelming, and the fear of missing out, I didn't allow my daughter to go through that. And I don't want you to allow your child to go through that. And with that being said, this is how I birthed the idea. My daughter went to college and at UCF, go Knights. I made sure she stayed local to avoid the out of state fees. And again, these are questions that are going to come up as you gear your student up in state, out of state, costs, what have you. You're going to have these array of questions. And I want to make sure that I give you the tools to make you feel successful.
wow, awesome, awesome. So I took down some notes as you were talking, right? So you said that your parents told you to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so that's a as a parent, I can only imagine their anxiety for them to even say that out loud. And because, as you know, as parents, any parents that are out there watching, you know that there's some things that, you know, you don't want to disappoint your children. But, you know, in them saying that, I want to say that, you know, they had courage in saying that to you, and that led you to a path to where you are now. So for any parent that's out there that's saying that, you know, you're saying it in your head, you know, Sharon gonna have to figure that out. I have no idea, because I've never been to college, and I don't know how to what to do, and she just gonna have to figure it out. You know, Michael, he gonna have to figure that out. You know, he said he want to be an astronaut, but he just gonna have to figure this thing out. So you know, I want to talk to the parents out there that if you are going through this right now, I call it mental jumping jacks. So if you're going through these mental jumping jacks right now in your head, that you don't have a clue, you don't know where to start, that's okay. It's normal, because Stephanie just shared with you that's something that her parents shared with her. And then let's talk about the overwhelm, right? As parents, we have many hats that we're wearing. If you are a single parent, if you are you're co-parenting a two-parent household, I don't think any of that really matters, because you're still dealing with overwhelm of life. So if you're dealing with any overwhelm of life, we're hoping that at the end of today's session, that can help you a little bit. That's really the impact that we really want to make here today. And as Stephanie with her incredible story. So, you know, the real misconception and where parents start to panic, when parents, I'm going to ask you this: when parents first reach out to you, what is the most common belief that they bring about paying for college, and what sounds reasonable but sends them straight into panic? Because, you know, especially now with social media, you know, we got social media, we got YouTube University, TikTok. So they're getting all this information.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that parents come to you with? They're ready, it's already up to here. They've heard it all. Their neighbor said this. What is it when they come to you that you can bring them down, and you can help them with a clear path? Talk to us about
Yes, they fear failing their kids,
that.
because you are your kid's blueprint, and you don't want to mess it up, and you don't want to ruin their chances at their future, because everybody wants to be able to pass the baton to the next generation, and they want to make sure that when they do that, they hand it off and they do it very well. So my goal is to provide reassurance, to make sure that I'm listening to their fears, I'm addressing their fears, and giving them the right tools to help them go from A to Z. That's the goal, is to give them small tangible steps and bite-sized pieces to, when they walk away from my session, they feel empowered versus feeling overwhelmed. They relax a little bit knowing that I'm walking alongside them. They have a resource. They can phone a friend. And that's what I am. I'm the phone a friend college prep person that they can call to ask all their questions, and I can give them answers because I've been in their shoes and I know what it feels like.
I absolutely love that. You are the phone a friend college prep person. Because basically what you're saying with that is you're a lifeline. That's a
Yes.
lifeline. You know, one of the things that we will talk about is, you know, housing a car in college are some of the three top highest decisions that somebody's going to make. And just think, as you said, parents don't want to disappoint their children.
They don't.
So, you know, so as you don't want to disappoint your children, and plus, as parents, sometimes we want to be the go-to for everything, and it's okay. There's a phone. Stephanie is your phone a friend. So
Yes, I am the phone a
Stephanie
friend.
is your phone a friend. So I just want to say to those that are watching here, we're so glad that you are watching. We're also on Instagram. I can't see any comments or anything right now. I'll probably be able to see them when we go back. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. So we're so glad that you're here with us. Drop a comment. Let us know where you're viewing from. If we don't see it now, because sometimes the platforms don't let us be great, we'll come back and definitely make sure that we answer and acknowledge you after the broadcast. So thank you for being here. So Stephanie, want to talk about, a lot of times when we talk about college age, we usually gear to maybe 10th graders, or sometimes we may think ninth grade is too early. What is that sweet spot in your experience is when a parent should really start making that college plan, start engaging with conversations with you? When do you think that that's the right time?
To be honest with you, where your kid is, because each kid is different. Some are more mature and prepared and focused. I talk about the different types of kids. For instance, I was that teenager who knew what I wanted to do. You have some kids that know like what they want to do. They want to be a doctor. Then you have the kid that they are very smart. They book smart, and you know that they just need a little focus. Then you have a kid that just is like, mama said I have to go to college. I'm going to go to college. So the preparation actually begins with where that family is. So we never want to take a cookie cutter approach to our kids, because even in the same family, as mothers and parents and grandparents, aunts, uncles, you know that every kid is different. So you have to gauge with where they're ready to begin the conversation. It's okay to start asking, hey, as as early as 8th grade, what do you see yourself wanting to do? What do what impact do you want to make on the world? Just to start the conversation going. You don't have to go too deep, but find out where their mindset is, what they're thinking about. And that's where you start to get a little further, as anything, bite-sized pieces. Because if you try and give I always use the newborn factor. If you try and give a baby a ribeye, how successful is that baby going to be chewing on a ribeye? You can't. You have to start in stages. And that's the way I want to lead my families. I want to lead my students and make sure that they feel that they're being given the right guidance and tools for where they are in life.
Absolutely love that answer, that it's not a cookie cutter. It's really, and even you even got down to the micro of in your own family, right? Because in a family you could have 3 4 kids, and out of the 3 4 kids, everybody is pretty much different. So yeah, so thank you for that. And even starting at the 8th grade.
Yes.
So we might have some parents out there that you and some, I'm from a West Indian background, so a lot of different cultural backgrounds outside of the United States, they usually have this predestined profession for their children.
Yes.
And so with that predestined profession that they have for their children, they already got the lineup of what they're going to be doing and so forth. All of
Yes.
that is good, because I've experienced all of that from many of my friends and so forth, right?
Yes.
But I will say, and I don't know if you've encountered any parents like that, I would say that they may know what the goal is, but I don't think I've met any parent that knows how to get their child there.
Right.
They just know, oh, you need to study and you need to this and you need to that, but they're totally forgetting the other parts to it. So I don't know. Have you ever encountered cultural cultural parents outside of the United States that already have this pre cookie cutter of
Yes.
where, oh, speak to that. Let's speak to that.
I can tell you that I actually had a coworker that I was talking to simply because this is my passion, it's my life's journey. And her they come from a Asian background, and she basically told her son that he was going to college. He had a different idea for his life. He wants to be an entrepreneur. He knows that he wants to make his own path and formulate his own path. But his parents basically told him it's college or nothing. And he didn't have a decision. And he did definitely follow the path of going to college, but it wasn't his journey. It wasn't something that he felt passionate about. And we want to make sure that, yes, we want to lead and guide and steer our kids in the right path, because yes, sometimes we do know a little bit more because we've walked in their shoes. But I also think as a parent is also our job to listen, because you want to make sure that their path that they're going to go is also something that's going to bring out the best version of them. And there's no right way. We've seen people who've gone to college and gotten 4-year degrees, and they went a total different path for what they studied. It's okay. Life will take you on many different journeys until you find out what it is that you're truly, your heart, that God has put on the inside of you. And I think that's where we have to also partner the parent role with the let me see where you want to go, and let me see if we can take a targeted approach and get somebody to help us and guide us and steer us in the right direction, so that we can couple the your will with your backup plan that I know you need.
That's so good. That's so good. Um, do that? This is now making me ask this question. As that child wanted to be an entrepreneur, but the parents had a different plan. Um, and I know that you're mainly the resources that you have is geared towards the college students. What do you have for the parents so that it is a partnership between the two? So do you offer, whether it's coaching or your program or anything, what do you have for the parent, or and what do you have that's holistic for the entire family, so that the entire family knows that this thing is something that we're doing together? Speak to us about that.
Yes. So what I do is I do a interview. I have a separate questions for the student, and I have a separate set of questions for the parent. And I take those results that they give me, because when they first come to my session, they don't know that they're going to get a little homework assignment to start, but it helps me formulate who they are off the bat. I want to know if from a student perspective, what kind of person are you? Are you structured? Because remember, when you send your kid off to college, you're not going with them, they're going on their own. So I need to understand, how do they navigate right now? What is their strong points? What are their areas of opportunities? And where can we fine tune that? As a parent, I give them I find out, are they the helicopter type of parent? Are they the I'm going to do this for them, I'm going to fill out the SAT questions for them, I'm going to fill out the FAFSA for them? I need to find out what kind of parenting style they have. And then I try to say, all right, here I am, here's the coach, and this is the secret sauce to bring this all together. And then I try to formulate a to do for the family that will give the parent some things to do and the student some things to do, because our goal is to make sure that they can spread their wings and fly, because guess what, you're not going to be there at every single turn. So it's a new role that the parent will actually have to step into when their kid go off to college, and they're going to be in shell shock. So I have to get them out of shell shock and sort of be like that rocket coach, to say, it's going to be okay. you know
Shell shock. They're not going to go off to college with you. And a lot of times, as I had kids that went off to college, especially when you have the first one that leaves, you really have no idea what that's going to be like.
Yes.
First of all, it's on both sides, right? So it's on the parent and it's on the students. And you talked about being a helicopter mom. So if you are a helicopter parent, it could be the mom or the dad. So it really doesn't matter. So if you
Hmm.
are a helicopter parent, because I've heard several parents say that they dread the day that their child has to go off to college.
Yes.
And when I hear that, it makes me cringe in a way, because part of our job is to prepare them. so
Yes.
so there's one or two things that goes on in my mind, right? uh have you been preparing correctly? What's the deal that you're not in a position that you can set them up for their next phase, right?
Yes.
So you mentioned helicopter parents, they're going to be away by themselves. Talk to us about what in your experience dealing with setting up the parents, dealing with the college students, and so forth. And I love what you said, that you talk to the parents, you have an individual assessment, so you're really looking at this thing from a holistic perspective. You're not just throwing resources at
No.
people and,
No.
and just giving people, here's a list of stuff to do, whatever. You're really getting deep with the family to create, I call this a college plan. that's
Hmm.
that's really what I call this, right? Is a college plan. So what are some hidden things that a parent that may be watching right now, that you can say to them that they may not have thought about? So what are, talk to us about that.
So some of the things that I talk to the parents about is, when you go to do the first orientation,
Mm,
what questions do you ask the college, either in orientation or when you do a college tour? Because my goal is to make sure you do the college tour before you get to the orientation. So I actually have a timeline of things that I like to give families that they should be doing. Um, right now, is if your student right now is looking to go to college, you want to make sure that they are completing their FAFSA. And a lot of people are not aware of this. Parents are not aware of this. Each state has a different deadline for the FAFSA, and you want to make sure that you're adhering to the dates based on your state. And those are some of the things that, as your lifeline, I'm going to look at where you are and what state you're in, to make sure that you are paying attention to the targeted deadlines, so that you don't miss the opportunity to submit the college application, you don't miss the deadline to submit the FAFSA. Some of the aha moments is, well, stuff, I didn't think about how I was going to get them here, everything from here to there. So those are some of the things that I like to tailor to the families to make it personable. And as I said, I've walked in your shoes, so I know how to guide you, and ease that burden that's on your shoulders. I want to take that off of your shoulders, so that you can feel like I have somebody that I can lean on. And that's what I want you all to them to, at the end of the day, to feel like, I finally feel equipped to support my child. Your checklist helped me go there with a mission. I wasn't just floundering and just letting the college lead me around the campus and tell me what they want to tell me. I had a targeted approach, because Stephanie prepared me. She prepared my set of questions to ask as a parent. She prepared me with a set of questions that my student, when and that's the other thing, as a helicopter parent, when you go to orientation, they don't realize that, they're going to be whisked off and taken on a separate orientation than the parent, and the parent is just like, whoa, I didn't expect this. And so I like talk to the parents and say, yeah, when you go to orientation, you're gonna be separated. So you're not gonna still be with this kid, because what the college is trying to get you already is to release and know that all of this preparation that you've done from pre-K to 12th grade is getting them ready for college life. Let's give them the right handoff, so that you feel like, hey, I'm not worried about missing any deadlines, because Steph told me what I needed to pay attention to. So that's what I like to make sure I do for my families and students.
So let me just say this. When my first daughter went off to USF, I did not know that we would be separated,
Yes.
because I went to college, but I didn't go to college out of high school. So I went to college as an adult. And as you know, the experience is different.
It is.
So you are 100% correct. When we went to orientation, I think orientation was 3 days. We stayed up there, I think, for a week or something. And yeah, we didn't know that we would be whisked off. Here's the one thing that we did do. And in hindsight, it wasn't, we didn't do it because we were smart. So let me just preface this. We we did it. We didn't know what orientation would be like. Let me just say that.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, my two daughters are 9 years apart. So when my oldest daughter went off to college, the youngest one was 9. So the youngest one came to orientation. In hindsight, that helped when she went off to FAM. But like I said, we didn't do it because we were smart and we was doing all this preparation and all of that. She was coming with us.
Yes.
Your sister's going off to college, so we thought we'll go to this orientation. In the meantime, we'll pack up her stuff, help her set up her apartment, do all this kind of stuff, whatever. That was the thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that yes, that was a shock for us. So that
Yeah.
when it happened with the second child, we weren't shocked.
You were ready. You
We
were
were
ready.
ready. We were ready. But had we had a phone a friend college bestie, we would know what to do, right? So I don't think you are ever it's ever too late,
No.
because as you mentioned, every child is going to be different. Here's the one thing that you said to me that I did not know. Obviously, I'm in Florida, so I only knew the dates for FAFSA for Florida. I did not know that it was different dates across the country, and
Yes.
that was mind blowing for me. So thank you for that hint. And our broadcast hits a lot of different states and across the world, and I hope that somebody really and truly got that, because as I mentioned before, there can be so much information out there that you're getting misinformation. So if you're following somebody on TikTok and they're saying the fast food date is, I'm just going to throw a date out, the fast food date is March 1st, but they could be living in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
you're living in Kansas. Hello, your on a friend college prep Bessie just told you, uh-uh, the dates matter. So thank you for that. And if you want to elaborate and give us a little bit more on that, because I think that's so important, because you need to make sure that the person is giving you the information is an authority on that information.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where all of the years of and that's one of the questions that I ask. Give me your top 3 colleges. And why do basically, why do you want to go there? Is it because that's somewhere that you truly want to go? Is it because your friends are going there? Is it because this is your parents' alma mater, or the family alma mater? You have to ask the questions so that you understand, or I should say, I understand as a coach, what is your motivation for these choosing these schools, or and the other thing is it, cause of your grades, um, and that's a reality. Some kids are not going to be the 3.0 students, the high achieving students. And that's why I say I never take a cookie cutter approach, because every family is different. their needs are going to be different. Their level of has their parents gone to college? Do they understand the level of higher education? What is it that they're needing? And I have to be able to walk alongside them with where they are as a family and their understanding of everything.
Wow, that is absolutely so good. What would you say to a parent that's watching? Or yeah, what would you say to a parent right now that's saying, "Oh, Stephanie, this is really good information. I'm glad that you're sharing, but my child is going to graduate in June of 2026. We have not we haven't done anything. I don't know where to start. The child has gone to the guidance counselor, and they've gone to the guidance counselor and haven't bring me back any information, and I don't know what questions to ask. What would you say to that parent? Or even what would you say to the parents first that the child is graduating in June? What would you say to the student that's graduated in June? But here's the thing with the student. All the way up to now, that student did not want to go to college. Something all of a sudden woke up, and now this child wants to go to college, and now they're in panic thinking that it's too late. Is it too late for them?
It is not too late. You can feel like, oh, what am I gonna do? Woe is me. There is never a too late moment, for me to step in and give you some resources. You have a lifeline. You have a phone a friend in me. As a song, I hate to be as cliche as it is, but it says, "You have a friend in me." You have a friend in me, and I want to make sure that you all are stepping out there on the right foot, making sure that, a, do they have everything they're needing before graduation? Is it done? So there's some checklists that we need to go through to make sure we partner with the school to make sure that, hey, did you complete some community hours? Do you have them? Where are you at with your community hours? So those are some of the things, that I actually take a targeted approach with the parents and saying, hey, these are some questions you need to know. And then as a student, hey, where are your test scores? When did you take the SAT? Did you take the SAT? Because all of these are important because you need to know those deadlines. And does ACT matter? SAT matters. Um, I take a look at both of those things, and making sure that the student has actually taken the SAT and ACT. Believe it or not, when some students come, especially if they weren't initially interested in college, they have not taken the test, and those tests have deadlines. They have, when you can pay the money, when to prep for those courses. Those are the things that I like to go ahead and walk the parents through, because guess what? Colleges are going to be looking for that in the application process. And I need to make sure that you and your student is ready for the application process, and you're not sitting there like,
Wow. Wow. Can you explain to a parent that's out there watching, what is these are some terms that we hear all the time: ACT, SAT. What's the difference? And does one weigh heavier than the other? Should I take both? What's this? What these tests? What are these tests?
yes, it measures their academic level. SAT, it measures their reading, their mathematics, and communication skills. The ACT, and yes, the scores do matter, and they are weighted in each category. The higher the scores are, is better for the student. And believe it or not, the test can be taken. You don't want to take it too many times. And again, these are where I start answering a little bit more and going into details. So I always like to make sure that in the personalized sessions that I provide, I go a little bit deeper in it. So I'll just, basically give you a high gloss version of it. Some schools will require you to do both because they want to see scores in both areas. And the ACT will deal with the sciences. It will deal with some mathematics as well, and then also the reading comprehension. So those scores are then compiled and given back to the student, and the test will then let you know how you fared in each of the categories. The ACT is comprehensive, whereas the ACT has the three sections on it. um, but they do matter, and that's where the schools is also determining how ready is the student prepared to take on the higher education, and are, will they be ready when they get here for the course load? Because I tell anyone, high school coursework is totally different from college level coursework, and we have to make sure that our kids are ready, so they're not going, yeah, they're going from they're going from a classroom sometimes of 40 students to an auditorium style classroom. That can be very overwhelming to a student who is used to a small body ratio. So I talk to parents about all of these things as well as students.
Wow. Yeah, and you're right. Going from your hometown that you know all your high school classmates to now you're going to an auditorium of people from all over the world.
Yes.
Right? It's a totally different setting. So thank you so much for sharing that, because these are abbreviations that parents hear all the time, and it may be confusing. And what I did not know as well that you just said, be careful of taking it too many times. And I just assume, well, okay, you didn't pass the first time, go ahead and take it again. So I just learned something as well. So two things that you taught me today, as I had children that went through college. These are two things that I did not know. I didn't know that you can pretty much hurt yourself by taking it too many times.
Yes,
So
because sometimes the score, if if they haven't prepared the second time around to gear up to retake the test, the score could lower. And the one thing that you want to do is set yourself up for success. And if you're going to go and take the test in hopes to get a higher score, you want to make sure that you're prepared to go back in there, because you already took the test the first time. So you sort of now know what to expect, that it is time tests. Um, and some people are not good test takers when it comes to time. So it's making sure that they can really be prepared when they go back in the second time around to take the test, because the one thing you don't want to do is set them up and they see, like, well, I didn't do better than the first time. What was, and with kids, what they're gonna say is, what was so great about going back and doing it again if I was just going to fail, you know? And we want to make sure that we're setting them up for success.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So as we get ready to wrap up, Stephanie, thank you so much for your passion. And when we first started, you mentioned about your parents told you to figure it out. Were you able to go to college? Were you able to figure it out?
Yes, I actually went to college. I went locally to Broward College, and it wasn't at first called Broward. It was called Broward Community College because it was a 2-year institution, and it was cost efficient for me at the time to sort of pay as I go, because I also went in with the mindset that I did not want my education and my pursuit of education to cause me to go into debt. We now have a debt relief for some of those who were able to get your debt wiped out, because some people were requesting. Yes, I went to the 2-year. It ended up, and then I took a hiatus because I was raising my daughter and I was pouring into her. But as a parent, I wanted to make sure that I was leading by showing her that I could finish what I started. So my daughter graduated in 2010, and I I had a setback in my life in my work career, and my daughter was like, "What are you gonna do now?" And I said, "I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna show you that I can actually finish my education before you finish your education." So I went back to and spoke with an advisor, asked how many credit hours I needed, and I want you all to know, me and my daughter were racing to see who was going to finish. And her mom beat her. I finished what I started. So I did get my bachelor's degree in business supervision and management. So I did take on a different change in career path from it being medical to being business. And the reason I did that is because my world was pretty much business accumulated, and everything I did, I managed a call center. I've managed people. And so I said, you know what, it makes sense to go down the path with where my life is right now. And I did complete my degree, and my daughter was there and proud of me. And that, I was able to show her, hey, you can't finish what you started, even if you're on your own timeline. And I tell this to students and parents all the time. You are not competing against your friends. You are not competing against what mommy and daddy did. You are on your own life's timeline. And when you do it, it's your success, it's your journey. And I want you to feel proud of each and every accomplishment that you make according to your timeline, not somebody else's.
First of all, let me just say congratulations of you being diligent of finishing what you started.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that story with us. And as you said, you're not in anybody's timeline. You are racing against yourself, right? You're racing against what is that's important to you. And what I liked what you said is you kind of shift gears, and that happens, right? And this whole live that we're doing here today, it's really a story in itself about you want to go to college, you have the desire to go to college, but you don't know what to do with it, you don't know where to start. So
Yes.
just because you don't know where to start, or you don't know where you may get the money from, that does not mean that desire goes away. And so
Yes.
Stephanie showed you that her desire was still always there, even after she had a child, even after, as they say, life was life, and she still finished. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. As we get ready to close, tell the people. Some people may be listening. They will say, "Well, I got the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor, I ain't got to pay them no money. So why would I go to you?" So share, and you've shared pretty much why someone would come to you, but real quickly, in a nutshell, and if you're able to encapsulate it, as to, you're not competing with the guidance counselor.
No.
Your approach is totally different. So if you share that nugget, and also, as we wrap up, how the people can reach you.
Okay. I'm not competing with the guidance counselor because they are going to give you the tools that, the school board has designed to give you each student. My method is not cookie cutter. I start where their family needs and where the student is. The other thing that I also do is I go deeper. I think about the things that perhaps they're not going to prepare you for the real world situations that, hey, you're off at college. What do I do when this happens? What do I do when there's an emergency? Whatever I do when there's, I'm starting to fail in school. uh, those are the things that I try to prepare for the student and the family, to make sure that we give you a overall approach. What happens when, and I know that now some colleges make it mandatory for the student to have meal plans, but what happens when you know there's allergy sensitivities that may arise that you didn't know that you have? Where do we go? What do we do? those are the things that I talk about because I've been on the other side and in the footsteps of parent as a student. I'm now a grandparent. I don't look like it, but I'm a grandparent. And I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, you have the resource to help you start and finish what you started, but without the pitfalls of, ouch, that hurt. Why, why did I have to learn it this way? Why didn't I have a a a map to tell me how to get from A to Z? I want to help you not fall into a pitfall. And that's where my services are different from the guidance counselor. Will I partner with you with the information and the resources that you get from your guidance counselor? Absolutely. We never want to negate any of that information.
Awesome. And tell the people how they can reach you.
You can reach me on Instagram at PSG2C, and you can reach me at Facebook, PSG2C. And you can reach me on my website at www.psg2c.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Stephanie, I want to thank you for this powerful conversation. And I know this will not be the last. I want to thank you for empowering our youth. We say all the time, this phrase is an old phrase, our children are our future. But you are really and truly lining that up. Your company's mission is really lining that up to give them all the resources and the tools that they need. So anyone out there watching, reach out to Stephanie as you can hear, that this is something that she's passionate about. So Stephanie, as we get ready to close up, what is one thing that you would leave with the people that are watching?
Knowledge is power.
That was powerful. Knowledge is power. If you didn't know Stephanie exists, now you know. And you can activate that knowledge. So thank you all for watching us today. As I said, Happy New Year. This is our first live for the year. Glad that you were able to join us. For those that have watched live or those that are coming back for the replay, go ahead and put in hashtag replay. Let us know where you're joining in from. Stephanie would interact on any of the comments that you've left. We'll love to hear from you. Repost this, share this with your friends and family. Let them know that they have a college prep bestie that is there to guide them as best as possible. So thank you all. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.